EX Fryevia is finally released, and it's time to take her into the arena at level almost 120 and see just how well she performs. Now, disclaimer, I am biased in terms of Fryevia. I love her design, I've loved the character since FFBE days, and in War of Divisions, I've actually used her in my first 3 seasons of class matches because of just how much I love the unit. So I might not say, I might give her more value than what she actually is, but in today's matches, I'm recording this intro after doing the matches, and let me tell you, she performs really well. So we'll go into that. As per usual, I'll show you some arena matches, and then at the end of the video, I'll show you the specific setup and abilities on off for each character. So if you're wondering what that is, just go at the end, check the chapters, go to Loadout, you'll see everything there is to see. Now, what is our strategy? Well, Fryevia is the tank of our team. She is there to generate some hate and take hits. She can deal okay damage if she's hitting the enemy team, but she will actually not hit very often, because whenever there's an ally under 50% HP, she will go heal them, and if somebody dies, well, she has full life to bring them back up, and that's her main role. She's there to take hits and ensure everybody else is doing their job as well. And then comes Gilgamesh. He's our damage carry. He's the whole reason the enemy team will die. He's going to use Kadetsu a couple times to remove re-raise and enable slash attacks and just deal good damage. Then he can also remove hate from an enemy using Excalibur, which dispels. So that's another pretty good thing. Now, why does Gilgamesh work so well in this team? The reason is Fryevia's AI goes to healing as soon as somebody's HP goes under 50%. So early in the fight, I like my characters to take a couple hits before triggering her healing mode. Gilgamesh will begin the fights by using Armor of Discontinuity, so it will take a couple turns before Fryevia decides to go healing, or at least that's what I'm hoping for. Then in the last slot we have Silma. First of all, I don't want to use only OP units in a video because if I want Fryevia to do a good job, I can't just kill the enemy team too quickly. So Silma is a good pick for that reason. But she also has really good synergy with our other characters. She's going to increase the slash and missile resistance of Fryevia, making her much more durable against physical attacks, while she remains a magic tank at her core. With that amount of slash resistance, like 65% is what we're going to have in a fight, she can actually take quite a few hits if it's the right type of physical attacker. And then she has a buff that increases defense and reduces cast time. White magic is slow. A lot of the healing we have right now in the game, and that performs well, is healing with without cast time, and that's critical. Units are very fast, and if we're casting a spell while they die, well, the healing is not worth anything. So the cast time reduction from Silma is very important in making the white mage side of Fryevia shine even better. So with all that said, let's go in game. Alright, let's begin with a team that's fairly common, Duane, Garvall, and Black Witch Helena. They've got re-raise on Black Witch, which I'm not a big fan of, but we have Gilgamesh, so we might be able to dispel that. And then they have magic resistance up, a bunch of dark maxed out vision card. They will be very strong, but somehow Odin on Black Witch, which feels a little bit weird to me, but still, 1200 magic. She is by no means weak. So let's go in and see if our team performs the way we intend for her AI to perform. That's a pretty important thing here. This is my first match. I haven't tested the team. In theory, there is a lot of synergy between the units and the way they're going to act. But sometimes I'm very surprised by the way the AI will act. And then we absolutely need Fryevia to use her barrier ability. And that's one fear I have. Currently, she has bells because I want her to be able to attack as well. But putting bells on her means that she uses her barrier on her second turn, and we need her to get that second turn, otherwise we're in big trouble. So here, Gilgamesh goes in immediately and then takes a pretty heavy hit immediately after, so he's going to go down before Fryevia generates hate. And then for some reason, she decides not to use her barrier because she's going into healing mode. Now, that's fine with me. Let's see how much she heals. See, full life. That's not bad. Thanks to that, Gilgamesh survives another attack and is able to finish Garvall off and deal pretty serious damage to the enemy Black Witch. So far, so good. Now we're grouped into an AoE attack by the Dark Witch, but see, Fryevia barely notices, so it's not the end of the world. Silma did waste her Cura, that's not great, but Fryevia should be in position to attack or cast a full life. So I guess that's a good showcase of how she can revive people. Now, of course, full life does not proc. It's not the end of the world. Of course, it would be better if it did proc, but hey, I can't complain too much. We've now taken out the Black Witch for the first time, but we dispel the re-raise, so she actually does not come back. Fryevia just keeps remaining at full life. She's going to tank like this for a very long time. But since she did not generate hate, Duane can go for someone else. So in this specific match, the bells was a bad fit. It prevented her from generating any hate, and she did not need the extra AP because she spent her time using TP skills. For the next battle, I'll replace bells with something else. Blizzard Blade finishes off the enemy Duane, and here we go. Fryevia basically carried the fight, and if the full life had went, we would have won this even easier. Now, this enemy team, Warrior of Light, Yuna, and the 2B and Yuna are maxed out with the best vision card. Warrior of Light almost so. So it should be a good test of our ability. What I really want to see is how hard it is for the enemy team to take down our tank. We did remove the bells from Fryevia, which means in her first turn, she should use Attract Barrier and thus generate hate. So we won't run into the same issue as we did last time, where she would be a very tanky healer, but not actually tank. So, enemy to be uses Illusion, that's fine with me. We get Crimson Resistance, which will be useful against a couple of the enemy members, so that's actually a pretty solid start. I have to turn off the TMR ability, now I know. I thought she would prioritize bells, but not necessarily all buffs. Now I realize that we have an issue. So still no barrier, which is actually really bad because now she'll be in range to attack the enemy team, so she probably never used that barrier. Still though, Yuna's limit break, we barely take any damage, so so far so good. Now Soma's gonna follow, try to cast a buff on our Fryevia, and we quicken her as well into a second turn. Let's see what she does here. I wish she used her barrier, but instead she increases her own tankiness. Now, that's not bad, and we have reduced casting time, which is really important for her white mage side, because often white mages will not use their abilities in time to have an impact. So we remove Re-Raise, take down Yuna, that's really good. Gilgamesh is quite a powerful carry here. So now, Yuna chooses to go for Fryevia. That's probably because Gilgamesh has a barrier, and so the total damage is higher on Fryevia. But look, that's a maxed out to be. She did 1400. That's a ridiculously low amount of damage. So far, so good. We missed the enemy to be again, and that's something our team might struggle with. We don't have a lot of accuracy. The only guaranteed hit we have is in Sylma's kit. But as long as we don't group, Sylma should never really get hit. Now, to be continues her onslaught. We missed her again. She takes a lot of HP out of the Gilgamesh, and we're struggling with their tank. Okay, to be laps Gilgamesh before we get a chance to finish her healing spell. That's really bad because it actually wastes an entire turn from Fryevia. She could still decide to get the full life off, but now she's wasted an action for no reason, which is pretty bad. To be goes for Sylma, again because we have a TMR ability on and we did not generate hate. I really need to fix that issue. Full life goes off. Will it actually land this time? Yes, so we get Gilgamesh back, but that Gilgamesh has fairly low AP. So let's see what's going to happen. Deterrent Sword does not do much, then basic attack, and we lose our guaranteed hit source. At that point, I believe the match is lost. It's really difficult for us to deal with an evadee 2B, even though she will do basically no damage to our team. But 2B's almost out of AP, so we might win just from HP by the match turning out. We miss her one more time. Fryevia, see that 800 HP regenerator? That's pretty fun to see. We cast Karada on Gilgamesh, get him back to a very high amount of HP. He misses to be again, and she uses another ability that deals fairly low damage. We'll finish the match by trying to cast, but we won't have time to finish it. We win, but the lack of accuracy was really an issue here. So, Fryevia is a magic tank. What if we fight a team of mainly physical attackers? They're pretty scary, right? Normally, 120 Tidus and a 120 Auron are very powerful units. Of course, he doesn't have Sticky Dane, but that's still not a bad vision card. So, let's see how much damage he actually does to us. and if we go down very quickly or not. We have a base/resistance of 45%, and if Selma gives us her buff, it actually goes way past 50. So I feel like we have a pretty good shot at winning this. But maybe I'm mistaken. We don't have any kind of physical barrier on her, so that might lead to some issues. Now, the enemy uses their own barriers, except for this guy who doesn't have one. Auron is a really cool character. I kind of wish I had him, especially for this ice team, because right now I don't own any unit with an ice mastery ability. But hey, it is how it is. So we do get Quicken on Fryevia, but she's not in range to attack yet, so she'll actually just waste a turn because we turned off everything else for her to use her barrier. Not the end of the world, but it would have been better had she done something else. The extra defense though, that's pretty huge, because without that, she is fairly squishy. Now, see, Sphere Shot 800. She's not taking damage at all. Kaiser's Flurry, sure, 1000, that's fine, it's not big damage, and we just one-shot the enemy Tidus because that's what Selma does. Now, Fryevia finally gets the chance to hit, does not even need to use Blizzaga Blade, so just a basic Blizzard Blade, and she's out. Dragon Fang, pretty heavy hitting ability, deals roughly half our HP, but that's fine because now he's dead. So far, this team has been doing very well. Now, this was going way too well, so while I've already recorded 5 matches, let's go into a 6th one where we'll challenge a King Mont. He is a counter to our team, and we should never fight him. If you want to use Fryevia, avoid King Mont. 2 reasons. He has a really high chance of disabling Fryevia, which is terrible, but he also has insane ice resistance generally from his kit, the type of equipment, and Esper he usually uses. So it's going to be really hard to take him down. And then he's just super tanky and will keep your team's aggro for a while. So do I think we're going to win our fight against him? No, I don't. We just won 5 in a row, but this one seems pretty bad. No, not Viz, yes. The other factor that makes this an especially bad matchup is Camillo. He's a physical attacker that uses pierce and missile attacks. Guess what? Fryevia does not perform well against either pierce or missile. So I want to show this match to put some, I guess, perspective into it. Yes, she has been performing super well in the first couple matches because we were fighting enemies she was strong against, but Fryevia is by no means a brain-dead unit that you can just throw into any matchup and she performs well. She has her specialties and she needs to fight targets that she's good against in order to perform. So hopefully we don't just pull out a win out of our hat and make me sound a bit silly here. We generate the barrier, that's perfect. The Dark Wrath from Black Witch Helena does basically nothing. And we begin chipping off at the enemy King Mont, but see, only 1000 damage because he's super resistant to ice attacks. Barrier Break from Camillo, which is another reason why that's going to be a rough matchup. And then Fryevia immediately moves into healing mode onto our Gilgamesh. While that part is good, the fact that she's grouped with Silma is pretty bad, because now that Tenable Rose will probably one-shot Silma. We do have access to full life, but it will waste a bunch of other actions from Fryevia. Okay, she survives somehow, so we get another Kadetsu off, that's pretty good. Clairvoyant Blade, so we're taking quite a bit of HP out of this King Mont, and then we're still in fairly good shape. Silma decides to switch to attacking King Mont, which is also pretty good, and then Shadow Flare comes in, and that might be an issue. We're now weak to AoE attacks. The damage itself did not kill anyone, so Fryevia gets another chance to heal. But the cast time will not resolve before King Mont acts, which means we get disabled, and that's the first thing. Like I said, fighting King Mont, you risk being disabled. If that happens, you're done. 3 turns for a slow unit like Fryevia means she doesn't get to do her job, and now because the cure did not go off, we just die very quickly afterwards. So that was this match. As planned, we lose it. So let's have fun with one last match since I have the orbs. Valentin Salire, Yuna, and Black Witch Helena. This seems to be the optimal setup in my perspective. You want some magic up for everybody, and then individual best vision cards for those two. Maybe I would have switched Ramu onto Black Witch Helena and Bahamut onto Yuna. I'm not sure, but outside of that, really powerful team. Let's see if they struggle with us or not. as usual, our main issue is if we group, we're going to be hit by Black Witch Helena in an AoE, and Fryevia is the only one that can take those hits. Then there's also the risk of Valentin Salire using missile-based attacks, which can do quite a bit of damage, but it will be very hard for her to do that because I feel like she'll go down to our magic attacks very quickly. So we have a bit of missile attack resistance to help us with that, a shield on Gilgamesh, which is good, and a hate on Fryevia, which is exactly what we need. The re-raise is on the opposite end of the map from Gilgamesh, so I can expect that I'll have to kill Valentin Salire several times. And then Tenebral Rose comes out. I'm kind of surprised she did not use Devastation. That means the barrier will still apply from Gilgamesh, so it's not that bad. He only loses about half his HP. Then he moves in to hit the enemy Black Witch for the first time, almost taking her out, but not quite enough. Energy Ray, that'll barely tickle our Fryevia, so out of our 8,000 something HP, only 100 damage. That's fine. We're gonna begin hitting the enemy team, but again, we'll need to kill that Valentin Salire more than once. Darkra, not great because it hits Silma, and then Valentin Salire can also hit Silma, so we've actually lost somebody there. But at least that gives us some time to heal back Gilgamesh, and then we can always full life Silma back into the fight if we want to. So Gilgamesh has enough AP for one more Kotetsu, removes the re-raise, and takes out the entire team for a very clean win. He hits like a truck. So here's our teams and ability on off. First of all, Gilgamesh, he's the damage carry for the team. He has large AoE, and his slash resistance down also affects Fryevia's attacks, which is really good. 1200 attack, 7000 HP, he's pretty tanky, hard to take out, honestly, especially with his barrier. So that is, these are his resistances and overall stats. And then abilities on off, it's always hard to do that for Gilgamesh. I have left everything in his main job up, outside of Frostblade and Self-Haste. Frostblade because it's scales of his magic, and our Gilgamesh does not have much magic, so I prefer this. And then if he has only 16 AP, I want him to do a basic attack, stack more AP, and then use Kotetsu, not Frostblade. So it's way better to have it off in my current build. Also, Self-Haste is off because I want him to use Armor of Discontinuity in his first turn, and any other buff will be used in priority over that. Then in Time Mage, all he has is Quicken. I never want him to cast a spell on the enemy team for the same reason that I turned Frostblade off. And then Quicken is just in case he can't hit the enemy team and can potentially fast forward Fryevia into them. So that's why it's here. So that's it for him. Now Fryevia, 9000 HP, 900 attack, only 79 agility, and that's her main weakness. We have 13 defense and 20 spirit, which is alright. To be honest, I forgot to add the nodes in the White Dragon, so that should actually be 35 spirit. I think I just forgot to level him and give him the extra spirit. You know what? It worked out fine, so we'll keep it like this and run her even stronger in the next days. In terms of resistances, 45% slash resist, 94% magic resist. That is crazy. It's the whole reason why she's so hard to kill. So that really works out well. And then 32% wind resistance on top of it. So if we're fighting wind units, it pays off quite a bit. In terms of abilities on-off, I have everything on in her main job because all these moves are good in some scenario, and she knows when to use the right one. But as a white mage, that's not the case. Cura is off in duels because she'll often cast it in a very weird way, so I prefer having it off. Protect and Shell are off because otherwise she won't even move forward, she'll just keep casting those. Curata is her highest single target heal, it's on. Raise off, never use Raise. Full Life is on, Cure is off in duels, and so is Izuna. If she heals, I want her to heal for a lot, and I never want her to waste a turn casting Izuna, because more often than not, she'll die while trying to cast it. So, not a big value. That's it for her. Then finally, Silma. We'll go over her very quickly. I feel like I've featured her quite often in videos, so you guys should know what her kit looks like. So she has everything on in her main job because she uses everything fairly well. I feel like I could turn off Cura though when we have a healer like Fryevia in the team. Then in her secondary job, everything is on as well because she has a really good AI. The only thing I turn off is Nimble Movement because I prefer her to buff her teammates over herself. So that's it for the team. So that was it. Hopefully it was good enough and fair enough of an evaluation of Fryevia's capabilities. Now I will do an actual review and I'll release that tomorrow. But for now, I just wanted to preview just how strong she can be, and then tomorrow we'll be comparing her to other magic tanks and seeing if she's actually worth pulling for or not. Disclaimer, if you already have Rain or already have Whisper, you don't need Fryevia. She is really cool and I really like her design, but I don't think she's necessary for any kind of content in the game. So don't take this as my advice to pull, that's not what this is. Now, if you've enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and as always, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.